welcome to the first principle of this free course, where I'll show you how to make the best of your English learning experience and finally speak. I'm going to walk you through the essentials of my method. We have 8 principles in total. In each one, I'm going to describe it to you, and I will also tell you the reason it is so important and the way in which you can apply it in your own language learning process. Alright, let's start. As you notice on the title of this video, the first principle of this method is motivation. What is motivation and why is at the beginning of this course? Webster's New World College Dictionary defines it as a desire or enthusiasm to accomplish or achieve something. That's motivation. When we start something new, most of the times we know we are, or we believe we are, motivated. Talking specifically about learning a new language, and more specifically about learning English, we ask ourselves a lot of questions. Where am I going to take classes? This or that school? How am I going to do it? With this or that school? This or that methodology? When will I take classes? During the week? On the weekends? In the morning? At night? How much money will I spend? Will I buy a course, get a private teacher, or go to a school? How long will I study? A couple of months? A year? But 90% of the times we skip the real question, the most important one. Why? Why do I want to learn English? We just do it because we are influenced by external factors, but we don't spend some time thinking why learning English is so important to me. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, of course I'm motivated. If I weren't, why would I pay a certain amount of money every month? Why would I get up very early to go to class? Why else would I bother doing homework and studying my textbook? Why would I be watching this? Well, although all those things sound to us like we are motivated, truth is, maybe we are not. Motivation is, by far, the most important aspect that any person wanting to learn another language should consider and analyze in depth. And yet, it is the most overlooked of them all. I would like to use an analogy to exemplify this point. Imagine that one day you learn that a lot of your friends and people you know have decided to swim across the Pacific Ocean. They are all very excited about it, and a lot of people are making the same decision. They say it's a life-changing experience. They say it's good for your body and so on. You, personally, don't feel that way. But hey, come on, everybody's doing it. So you might as well do it. And then one day you start swimming, and it's going well for a while. But after some time, you start getting tired. You stop and think to yourself, what am I doing? This is nonsense. I don't want to do this. And so you slowly return to the shore, back to where you started. All the time you spent, all the mental energy, all the effort you put there went to waste because you didn't have a true motivation to cross it. You didn't have a real motivation, so it doesn't really matter if everybody's doing it or if it's good for you. You just don't want it. And from a teacher's point of view, I can promise you that lack of motivation is the reason number one for students quitting courses or making little or no progress at all. At the beginning of every coaching, I ask my students, why are you here? Why are you taking the time and putting your effort onto this? The most common answers are, because I need it for my work, because I need it for my school, I have to present an English certification within such or such time, it is necessary to get a good job. English is the language of the present and the future. If you don't speak English, you are at disadvantage. Does any of these answers ring a bell? Can you relate to them? You probably can. Now, how many of these answers include a personal reason to language? How many of them translate as I want, I desire, for me? None, right? And exactly for this reason, people who have an obligation, say a job or a school requirement, are there to learn only the necessary skills to pass a test and no more. And sadly, those who start saying that it might be something important in their futures end up quitting out of boredom or frustration. But then, what does it mean to be really motivated towards a language? We could say, to put it in simple words, that we need to turn this around. We should start by thinking how a new language is going to make me a better person. What things I will be able to do that I cannot do just right now? how language is going to be a part of my life, something I will enjoy, something I will never get tired of. If I am motivated enough, nothing, and I mean nothing, will prevent me from acquiring the language. And when we do so, all the rest will just happen. Certifications, promotions, raises, opportunities, everything is a result of it and not the cause. Okay, all that sounds very nice. How do we do it? How do we determine our motivations? One simple way to do it is by visualizing ourselves into the future and thinking on the things that we can do right now, but we really want to be doing. Not what other people are doing. They are not you. They have their own motivations. Remember, this is about you. How do you imagine yourself in the future when you can actually use the language? What are you doing in that scenario? Think about it. That's appealing, right? Now, what are the characteristics of a real motivation? Personally, I can think of 3 major features of a real motivation. Number 1, it is yours, nobody else's. It's an inner, almost burning desire for language. It's watching a movie and say, I don't want the dubbed version, I want the real thing. It is wanting to read a book in English. It is seeing foreigner people on the street asking for directions and wanting to go there and say, can I help you? Sure, I speak English. It is yours, because in the end, who gets all the benefits? You do, and no one else. Very recently, it seems like a lot of language schools are using the same strategy to attract students. They say things like 100 or 500 or 1001 reasons to learn English, and they show us situations where we might need to use the language. But those reasons, are those your reasons? Understanding the signs at the airport is a personal motivation of yours? If it is, that's great. But if it's not, that's even better. Because you don't need other person's 1001 reasons. You just need one. Yours. Number 2, it's strong, powerful, and long-lasting. Acquiring a new language is a long, continuous process. Just remember how long it took you to speak in your native tongue. 4 years before kindergarten, maybe by 6 you were able to use the language in a proper manner. Do you think that in one point you might have said, forget it, I will never learn Spanish, I give up? No, because everybody around you was speaking it. Your parents, your friends, the TV, everything. You needed it to be a part of the world, so you just did it. That's one powerful motivation. Maybe you dream about living in an English-speaking country one day and live a normal life there. That's one strong motivation. Perhaps you love reading and, like me, you can't stand translations of the books you love. Boy, is that a powerful motivation. Number 3, it's specific. As specific as it can be. If you say, I'd love to read in English, that is one good, personal and strong motivation. But it is very generic. We need to dig deeper. What do I want to read? Novels. What novels? Ernest Hemingway's novels. What Hemingway novel in particular to begin? A Farewell to Arms. When will I read it? 6 months from now. Now that's specific. You've got yourself a personal objective for language. When you have such a powerful and specific motivation, you can keep track of your own progress. You can really see how your language gets better and better every day in your own terms. Moreover, you can do little things that will eventually transform into the big thing. Anything that really drives you to learn the language, anything will work. So, for your second or third or fourth language, is your motivation powerful enough? If at any moment language seems to be getting more complex, will your motivation be sufficient to keep you going? Or will you just say, nah, you know what, it's not really that important? If your answer is yes, it's strong, it's important to me, then you're good to go. I can give you now my own personal example. Every time that I approach a new language, I do it with the same motivation. I want to read books in their original language. Because man, I hate translations. There is always something lost in a translated book. You are only reading the interpretation of the book that the translator is making. And that is also the factor that determines what languages I decide to learn. When my friends find out that I'm learning a new language and ask me, why are you studying Italian, for example? and I answer that I want to read books in Italian, they are shocked. They can't believe I'm taking all this time learning a new language only to read novels in Italian. They think it's stupid. But you know what? I don't mind what they think. I care what I think. And for me, learning a new language to read books in their original is a fantastic motivation. And every time that I'm working with a new language and things get a little complicated and I feel like giving up, I ask myself, okay, so you think it's complicated, huh? Do you want to abandon it and read a book in Spanish? Hell no. And I go back to the language and I keep trying and trying, and when I go through entire chapters of a book, that's what makes me happy. Suck on that, language. I can do it. For me, it's reading. What's for you? Remember, when it comes to language, it's all about attitude. If you really want to do it, you will definitely do it. That's it for this principle number 1, motivation. In the next episodes, we are going to go through some of the specifics of this method, things that have proved to work effectively in my own experience. So, until the next episode, give it some thought. What is your motivation? Is it really yours? Is it powerful? Is it specific? I will see you on the next episode for the next principle. See you then.